Envirologix helps global grain customers ensure quality via risk management tools. And what is risk management for the grain company ends up being quality assurance for the end user. We make a lot of products, but our biggest product generally is the assistance that we give in the use of those products, the guidance. Our products are a tool, but if you don't know how to use the tool properly, it's very much a junk in, junk out system. But what we really wanted to highlight was all the good work done by the U.S. grain system. The grain system in the U.S. is the tightest quality system you'll find in the world. And it is basically a model that should be used and replicated in other places. But it's not always done, but I wanted to highlight the good work that all the grain companies are doing today. Yeah, I would say that is a part of the takeaway, but we really want to highlight also all the steps that go into it, and it's really to build confidence, what you're paying for. So in the specialty grains market, you're paying for an end product that is procured in a certain way and is going to achieve an end product that it's worth paying a premium for. We're highlighting all the good due diligence that is done to ensure that the buyer, the grain buyer, and the grain seller meet the contract specifications. The global grain system is a lot more dynamic than it used to be. If you went back 20 years, we didn't see as many origins of availability for grain that there are today. And all grains not really created equal. They may be number one yellow soybeans, but when you boil it down, it's really not the same. So highlighting what you're paying for and how that is procured is, I think, a value add for the customer. Technology is a big part of what we do. We offer tools that have very scientific founding. For example, immunoassay tests. When you're looking for a protein that may be exhibited by a GMO, let's say, or a small molecule of a mycotoxin, the grain looks exactly the same, but on a molecular level it's very different. And so you need some sort of base technology to be able to bring those differences to light in a visual management way. So very much like many tests you would find in a household setting or in a medical setting, you get one line or two. And so it's very easy to discern whether you have what you're paying for or what you wouldn't want to pay for. Yeah, I see this going to a higher level of technology. It's getting a little bit more complicated, especially on the GMO side. Gene insertions are not the same as they used to be. Right now we're looking for proteins and things like that. I see things moving more towards a molecular level on that front. On the mycotoxin side and pesticide residues, those assays are very well suited for what they do today, and I don't really see that changing a lot other than maybe the ability to do more testing more frequently at a little bit more ease of use, you could say. Yeah. I do see a lot of commonalities in the questions that are asked, regionally anyway. Many people want to know, well, how do you get non-GMO? What is it? What goes into it? And that's really what we're trying to highlight here. And so it's not a question that's really has a short answer because of all the good due diligence that goes into creating a non-GMO product that the end user, that's what the end user is paying for. So yes, there are a lot of common questions, but there's not really necessarily any short answers to it. Relationships are one of the most important factors that we have. When a company decides to do business with Envirologix, we generally have a trust there because we are building a program for them. We are giving them a capability that they don't internally have for the most part. And some of that is an actual product, but again, it goes back to being successful with that product, putting together a quality model that implements that tool, but the model is more important than the tool. So they have to trust our expertise where they may be lacking in expertise, and that's really where the partnership comes through. They can go to our website. If you're here at the show, you could certainly come to our booth. But our website, our corporate office, all of our sales reps and technical advisors are available online, easy to contact. We are a small company. We have about 120 employees. We really serve a niche market, but we are the best at what we do. We are one of the only companies that provide a complete service around the sale of a product or implementation of a product versus something that's more transactional, where you buy something and then they leave you to do what you wish to do with it. We teach people how to be successful, and I think as molecular products that are generally more complicated come onto the market, our expertise is going to give that grain procurement team more confidence, and so when they are forced or maybe whether it be contractually or regulatory wise to use a new and unfamiliar tool, we should hopefully be able to give them a level of confidence that this is the same, almost the same as doing the old method that you were using, and so we can coach them on through and get them to a successful end. If there's no way to determine whether something, let's say again, non-GMO or GMO, how do you know if you can serve the market or not? And so there has to be some sort of tool there to serve that market. It says yes it is or no it isn't. Does it qualify for a contract or a regulatory requirement, or does it not? And so we feel that that's very, very important, and it's not something that's going to go away. It's probably become more important, again, as the global trade becomes more complicated. Alternate origin grains, how are they procured? What's their process look like? We can say that moving forward, even with those particular new technologies coming along, that we still have the best and highest quality grain, whether it's soybeans or corn or another grain of any country of origin. So I think that that's very, very important. Without international trade, the U.S. grain industry would find itself likely with a lot of excess. It's really been a solid business model for us to export grain and provide countries that need it with that grain. And so we have the capacity to do it. We enjoy doing it. It's good revenue for the whole value chain: the farmer, the grain handler, the exporter, and the importer. So without that, it would be we would have to revamp our whole system. In my mind, as an ex-grain merchandiser, just if you would say, hey, this international grain trade just suddenly evaporated for some strange reason, it would be a challenge. I'm sure we could overcome. We're creative, but the grain trade, the international grain trade, is a significant portion of the overall business that we do. The importance of these types of events is that you really bring the buyer and the seller, or potential sellers, in close proximity to each other, and really just facilitate trade is what you're trying to do. This particular event is very unique, and I'd say it's probably the only one like it in the U.S., especially for the soy industry. Being an ex-grain merchandiser, I can see the value of bringing those people in close proximity. You have the time, you've got a specific point of what you're doing. Buyer and seller both have the exact same objective, and there's also educational sessions, and they get to survey all the vendors that are available as well. So these are I feel very important. If we had more of them, that would be great, right? But everyone has potentially, time issues, this, that, and the other. But a lot of business gets done here and at events like this, and without them, trade would be more difficult, I think.